Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of Card Talk, a podcast where we spend just a little bit of time talking about cards from Lord of the Rings card game. I'm your desperate host, Dave Walsh.
And I'm Ted Bannock, and it's going to be a very. I'm not desperate. I'm not desperate this episode. I think it's going to be a great episode. We'll talk about a lot of fun things. One of my favorite parts of the game, really. That's going to be a good show.
Yeah, and I just know that I am really ready for this. Not only am I ready for this and desperate, but I'm also going to be ready, and I'm going to just be ready all the time. Okay. Anyways, I don't know. I may have stolen Ted's thunder there for his little pun that he makes at the beginning of the show, but I'm waiting for Ted to tell me that the name of the show is right on the right on the Dave, the name of the show is good. Anyways, if you want to take in Card Talk from all sorts of places, we have the audio feed on your podcast player. We have the video feed on YouTube. We also have the blog over at cardtalk2018.com. Matt keeps up with us every day. He's been doing that for, more than 3 years now. So, I mean, there's a pretty extensive blog over there if you want to get some inspiration, play through some cards, look through some cards, see what things give you. That's the whole point of Card Talk, is just give you ideas about things that you may not have thought about before. So some things are pretty low-hanging fruit, but other things, like last week's episode, I'm still thinking about that from last week where we were talking about the Guardian of Esgaroth as a Rohan or a Gondor ally, and that's where we kind of make the community really think about what kind of options you have. Anyways, and if you like all those options that we provide you and you want to support us, you can go over to patreon.com/cardtalk2018 and you can become a patron. Now you can become a member of our Patreon without pledging any money, or you can do $1 a month or $5 a month, whatever you see fit, whatever you think we're worth. Okay. So anyways, Ted.
Yo.
Defend my crazy actions that I made at the beginning of the show.
Sure, I can do that. We're talking about Desperate Defense, which was kind of repackaged in the Return of the King box. Initially came out in the Flame of the West deluxe expansion. It is a one-cost spirits event that reads response after a Sentinel character is declared as a defender. It gets +2 defense for this attack. If this attack deals no damage, ready the defending character.
A point of rules about this, just so everybody knows. I mean, this is a timing thing. A lot of things in this game, especially with events, are timing things. But you have to play this as a response to declaring an enemy as a defender. So you can't, unless you have some other means to do it, you can't see the shadow and what's coming up from the shadow. So it's just a point to,
Yeah, you after the engagement phase, you enter into combat, and then you start declaring defender. You deal the shadow cards at the beginning of combat, and then you resolve the attacks one at a time. And then when you declare and they have to be sentinel, then you would play.
You can't play this as a response to a shadow card boosting an attack to not make the right. So, just be careful, because I've fallen victim to that once or twice. But anyways, Ted.
Yeah, it's a great card. I always kind of like to make a point that if you don't have a good defense strategy in this game, death. Basically.
Yeah. It's only a scratch.
Yeah, if you don't defend, your characters are going to die to attacks. Then you have no one left to quest or attack with,
Right.
really. So, um, kind of, and this card just helps you get an extra action when you need it. Also boosts your um defense as well. Now the reading part of it is conditional. You have to take no damage. So a really bad shadow card could put you over. Um, but I mean, I think it's usually worth the risk. It's worth the risk if you're doing the math and you're at least two over, or even if you're just one over or matching. At the very least, you're getting the defense bonus. You're mitigating the damage, right? If you don't get a boost on the shadow card, that's actually okay. I think for the value. But a lot of times I'm ending up getting the ready out of it. I feel like happens quite a bit. I'm usually playing it and I'm up by that 2 or up by 1, or even I get lucky on a match and then I get to ready the character for another defense. And the cool part is it's a sentinel character. So if I have this card in my hand and I don't have any defenders, but I'm playing with my friend David, and he's sentinel defending for me, as he could be prone to do in a multiplayer game. I could play this on his sentinel defender defending for me, and then ready it for another defense. Either so, it's kind of cool. I like that flexibility of it.
Yeah, I mean, and this game is not short on good sentinel targets. The one that I have been really excited to use is Spirit Baragon. I've been using a friend of mine we've been playing through the saga live together. So, he comes over to my house, I go over to his house. And so, we just beat the Battle of Helm's Deep, but I've been using Spirit Baragon, and he's a great choice for that because he has 4 and 8 defense. You can play this. He gets the bonus to attack, but typically he's not going to, or his bonus to defend, but then he's typically not going to take damage. And then you can ready him, and that's the key. It's the readying of the character. So this to me is more of a readying card than it is a defense boost card. But
yeah, yes, you want to get the ready out of it because you probably need that character to either do another defense, or maybe you need the character to attack. Like I've played this on Baragon to ready him, and just because even though he has 1 attack on both his versions, I need that 1 attack to kill something larger. And that's worth it if I'm killing some big troll or something large. I don't want it to carry over to the next turn. So even that can be good.
Yeah, I mean, and then things like Jubair, where when you exhaust, you get to discard a shadow card from it. So to get a ready out of Jubair to be able to do and he's in Sphere, he's Sentinel. There's just a lot of good targets even within Spirit for a desperate defense. Spirit is the attack, the defensive sphere, right? Who would have thunk it? But I don't know. When you think of Sentinel characters, Baragon and Jubair were the 2 that came to mind. I don't know. I don't play multiplayer a ton, but what are some of the other Sentinel characters that come to mind for you who play multiplayer?
Yeah, certainly both Baragons. You got Grimbjorn.
Right. There it is. That's what I'm saying. Right. I mean, there's other. Is Erkenbrand Sentinel?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And so, but this is the thing. You're playing Sentinel for a specific reason, and you're playing.
You also have and I'll play this with Spirit's Theoden, because he's also Sentinel
Right.
as well.
There you go.
Well, even his tactics version is Sentinel too,
Right.
but he's in Spear. So yeah, there's a couple of Spirit defenders that are Sentinel, like Spirit Baragon, Theoden, right off the top of my head. But there's plenty of a lot of Aragorns are Sentinels. His
Right.
lower version is
Yep.
Sentinel. His leadership version is Sentinel. Not to mention there's a couple allies like you mentioned, Jubire. There's some Dale ones that gain Sentinel, like the Redwater Sentry, if he has an
Right.
attachment. So there's like plenty of great targets.
Right. Yeah. And that's what makes the one cost reasonable, is because it's limited by the targets that, you pick a Sentinel character. So, this is a reason to play a Sentinel character, is because this card helps you with the defense from the beginning, right? Like you said, Ted, defense is probably the thing that is hardest to overcome at the beginning. Like, you need a good defender. You can kind of handle not having, great attack at the beginning of most scenarios, and you can probably handle not having amazing questing. But if you're, if you don't have an amazing defender, you're just losing. You can't get ahead of the game in that case. You need to, if you're chumping every round you're spending money, resources to chump, and so you're not getting ahead. So that's where this card is helpful. It helps boost. You can get 2 defenses out of, it's just for my money, it's a pretty good card.
Yeah. And I like one cost Spirit events. A lot of times I'm also playing Hasty Stroke, I'm playing Test of Will, and so I'm kind of keeping like one Spirit resource kind of open to react to things, and I usually will have more than one event in my hand that cost 1. So it's kind of nice that it fits in there, right? Like, I'm saving one for Test of Will, and if I didn't need to use it, well, now I have one I can pay for Desperate Defense or the Hasty. Like, I can use whichever one I want to, and it gives me a nice option. Because sometimes you end up you take unexpected attacks, right? Sometimes occur. And this helps you get through it. And if you're playing a Sentinel, if you're, you can help another player out by just getting an extra defense for them. So it's good stuff. That's for sure.
Yeah. And I think I said it, and I'll say it again. It's just the beauty of this card for me has always been the ready and not the defense. The boost. The boost is nice, but typically I try to play this so I can defend twice, not so I can get the boost.
Yeah.
And
I've had it fail on me as well.
Yeah.
Where I've taken the damage or something like that.
Right. You get +3 on a shadow card or something, and you take it.
Yeah, unfortunate.
Right. But still,
unfortunate when that happens. But
when that happens, then you have the defense boost to help counteract how much that stings, right? So, it's good. So, I don't want to say that this is a staple, but I just think it's a card that people should just look at as, as a really good option. Excuse me. I have all sorts of things coming up.
It's especially good, like, if you're not playing tactics, if you're playing like Mono Spirit or Spirit Lore, and you don't have like access to like a feint or other things to help boost your attack or boost your defensive capabilities. Rather, this is great. Like, it's so great to, like I said, run it with like I said, just the spirit defenders. There's like a couple in Sphere, and it's good. Right. It's strong. Yep.
And so, I don't know. Should we look at the artwork on this thing with events? I mean, events are never going to be the card that I build around in my game. But, anyways, but events are usually pretty short and sweet in terms of when to use them. I think that my impression is that people just don't look at this card very often. That's my impression of this. But
yep, it's also kind of nice for what's the Council of the Wise, right? If you're looking for kind of
I was thinking about
events.
that because of the events, right? You're just looking for all sorts of events to put into a deck, right?
Yeah. So this is kind of good. You get to play it for one and trigger the contract to gain a resource back or draw a card off of it. So if you have a Sentinel Defender in one of those decks, this is another great low cost event for that.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah. What does Grima do? The hero Grima, does he say lower the cost of an event to play by 1 and give it doomed 1?
Yeah, I think his actually is I can't remember if his is a response or an action. I think it actually is a response.
Now I'm just reaching here, right? Like, now I got to figure out here. Was Grima reprinted? That's the yes. No, Grima was in the voice.
No, Grima came out in the 4th cycle. Which I don't think was not reboxed in any fashion that I'm aware of.
Yeah. Grima's an action. Lower the cost of the next card you play from your hand this round by 1. The game's doomed 1. So you can, I don't know. Sounds fun to me. Bring it out for free. But
yeah. He's kind of a great option for just low cost events like that. So then you can take the Doom if you need to spend your resources that round. So there's kind of a not a bad strategy there as well.
Yeah.
So
anyway, should we not ring this guy? Should we look at the artwork on this?
Yeah. Sure. Let's take a look.
Yeah.
I don't know who's in the picture. It kind of looks like an unhelmeted Baragond, I think. Is who it's going for.
Yeah, I mean that's
it looks like it's Gondor architecture.
Yes. I don't know who is attacking the defender if it's Baragond. Like, I don't know who's standing. Is it a Nazgul standing in front of? Because if that's the case, then it would probably not be Baragond. But I don't know.
I don't know. I don't know.
Baragond's claim to fame, I think, is he was the one who saved Faramir from the pyre, from getting burnt to death. Contrary to whatever Peter Jackson has in the book, it was Baragond that rolled Faramir off the funeral pyre. It was not.
Pippin.
It wasn't Pippin. So I mean, the flavor text is also about Baragond. So
yeah, but it's fine. He's defending an attack. Looks to be in a somewhat desperate position, and again, one of those cards. The art is not like blowing me out of the water, but
right.
Don't mind looking at it, I guess.
Yeah, and this was reprinted in the two-player limited edition starter, and they really brightened it up, I think, in that.
Oh,
I don't know.
Yeah, it has the kind of like zoomed in, kind of borderless, like full art kind of thing, and they kind of redid the coloring on it.
Yeah,
and definitely,
it's more. I don't know. It's more vibrant. The original card is really washed out gray, white, but the 2-player has it. Looks pretty good. So, yeah, I mean, it's kind of nondescript. It's good art, right? Not great, but it's good. But again, this isn't like a linchpin card that's going to make it into every deck, right?
Yeah, not necessarily.
No. But Ted, should we ring this card?
Yeah, sure. We'll ring it up to the cash register.
Yeah, I'm desperate to ring this card. So, for anybody who doesn't know, we have a highly scientific yet arbitrary system where we ring a card on a scale from 1 to 10, where 1 is the one card in the game to rule them all, and a 10 is the card in the game that we throw back into the fiery chasm from whence it was made. So, Ted, what is this card? Oh, is it my turn to go first, maybe?
Yeah.
You want me to go first?
Why don't you go first, though?
Okay. I think I'm going to give this card right in the middle, a 5. Like, playing solo, I don't play Sentinel characters a lot, but I can see the beauty of this card when you're playing, high defense Sentinel characters. Even Grimbeorn, you may want to use this. The ready is what you're playing it for, but, it doesn't have to. The drawback of this card is that it's among a sphere where there's already a bunch of events that you want to play. So, it doesn't compete with itself, it just competes with Hasty Stroke and Test of Will and, even Unexpected Courage. You're already up to, a whole bunch of spirit cards. And so you have to almost, when you have spirit, you almost have to be intentional about which cards you put in your deck. And so I just don't think you should look over this card. So I'm gonna give it a 5.
Okay. Yeah, I'm pretty much right around there with you. I'm gonna give it a 4 because I love defensive cards. It gives you an action. It boosts your defense, which helps mitigate damage. Which, if you're in spirit alone and don't have lore, you might not have as much healing. Again, we didn't name all the possible targets. We just named a handful. So there's going to be plenty more to explore, especially if you do, and it can be a splash card too. If you just have one spirit hero, that's kind of all you need to get access to it, right? With a really great Sentinel character. Yeah, it's great. Give it a whirlybird.
Yeah, I think that if you're looking over this card, try it out and see what you do. It doesn't solve all your problems, but it definitely helps. So,
yep, it helps get you there. Helps keep you alive until you can solve your problems. So,
yep.
So don't be desperate to play desperate defense.
And there you have it. Wise words from the sage that we call Ready Teddy. So, everybody, thanks for joining us, and have a great day.
Do you love the content? Here's what you can do to stay connected. Become a patron. The money collected through Patreon goes into keeping the lights on here at the podcast. We love our patrons, and you can join at many different levels. Visit patreon.com/cardtalk2018. You can subscribe to us, whether you're watching our YouTube channel or you're listening to us in your favorite podcatcher. Hit the subscribe button to get notifications of all our new episodes. Didn't know we were an audio podcast? Find us by searching Card Talk to get access to our 120 plus regular episodes. Didn't know we were a video channel? Find us by searching Card Talk LOTR LCG on YouTube. And there you can find not only our regular episodes, but you can find our bonus playthroughs and other content related to the game. Want to get a hold of Ted, Grant, or myself? Feel free to email the podcast at cardtalk2018@gmail.com.